Yo, what's good everyone? Today I'm going to be taking a first look here at this Week 5 NFL DraftKings main slate. Let's dive right into it. And like I always do here in these videos, I'm going to go position by position, highlighting the plays that are sticking out to me here early in the week, and then we'll wrap up this video by putting together a first look cash lineup and a first look tournament lineup. With that being said, let's dive into the quarterbacks here, and I got 2 cash game and 4 tournament quarterbacks that are sticking out to me here early in the week. On the tournament side of things here, I do like Josh Allen. Been too up and down for me to put him in my cash lineup, especially at that price, but does have 30 plus DraftKings point upside. We love that in tournaments. He's already hit that twice in 4 games this year, and he brings that rushing upside that we really like as well. But again, an expensive piece there, so a tournament only play for me. Really like this game here between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals as well. I do think we can stack up either side. I prefer to go with the Cincinnati side and run it back with someone like Derrick Henry, but Lamar's been really good here in 3 or 4 games as well. Him and Henry just kind of steal from one another down by the goal line, and I don't love that, but the fantasy points have been there. The rushing attempts have been there as well, so Lamar definitely in play for tournaments. I really like Jordan Love here in the Green Bay Packers as well, heading into Los Angeles to play that Rams defense who has just not been good through 4 weeks. Love is someone who's got multiple touchdown upside, can throw for 300 passing yards, getting you that 3-point DraftKings bonus, and can clearly go for 30 plus DraftKings points as well. But then again, going back to this game here between the Bengals and the Ravens, like I said, I like stacking up the Cincinnati side, run it back with someone like Derrick Henry. Burrow very affordable here at $6,400 and has some easy stacking pieces as well. And then the 2 cash game quarterbacks that are sticking out to me, I mean, how do we not talk about Jaden Daniels? No, I don't love this matchup here against Cleveland, one of the tougher defenses he'll probably face all year long, but the rushing upside is there. He's looked good throwing the ball as well and hit 25 plus DraftKings points now in 3 of 4 games. Yes, his price continues to go up, but we're looking for 3x value in our cash lineup. That's essentially 21 DraftKings points. He's clearly proving that he can hit that, but I really like the price savings that we get here with Brock Purdy as well. Not someone who uses his legs as much as some of these other quarterbacks, still runs the ball every now and then, but ultimately I love the matchup here. I love the price. We need 18.6 DraftKings points against Arizona. I definitely think he can do that against that secondary. Now, moving on to the running back position here, and there's really not a lot of value sticking out to me here early in the week. I hope some things open up as we progress throughout the week, but as I look right now, the top 4 guys that we have here are all tier 1 plays in my opinion, with Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Kyren Williams, and Jordan Mason. Now, Derrick Henry and Taylor, those guys are just tournament plays for me in my opinion. They have that 30 plus DraftKings point upside that I'm looking for, but I don't know if I can go there in cash considering the price. I do, however, think we could go with Kyren Williams in our cash lineup, heavily involved in the running game and the passing game. And I also think we could go there with Jordan Mason as well. He's clearly locked into 20 touches per week, which has basically resulted to 20 plus DraftKings points per week. And I do like that matchup there against Arizona. But outside of those top 4 plays, which everyone is going to look at, I'm looking at 3 other guys here. And the first one is going to be Kenneth Walker. Now, I think we could probably play him in cash, but really like him on the tournament side of things. Super explosive. We saw that last night against Detroit. Loved his involvement in the passing game as well. And again, someone who can go for 30 plus DraftKings points. And I think that's a solid matchup there against the Giants. I also talked about the Packers earlier, and I think we can roster Josh Jacobs in this matchup. You know, the volume's been a little inconsistent, especially last week against Minnesota, but that run defense for Minnesota is one of the best in the NFL. This is going to be a great bounce back spot for him, and I like that price at $6,400. And then the last guy that I want to highlight here is Chuba Hubbard. Now, this matchup on the road against Chicago, who's got a good defense, isn't the best. But again, I'm looking at the volume here, and look, 21, 18 rushing attempts in his last 2 games, 5 and 4 targets in his last 2 games, leading to 25 and 30 DraftKings points. It's really hard to ignore that at that price of $6,100. And then we got the wide receivers, and my tier 1 plays at this position are going to be Jamar Chase. Love stacking him up with Joe Burrow. Nico Collins, who's just been a target monster as of late. 10 plus targets in 3 straight games. Sure, a tougher matchup there against Buffalo, but I think Nico can win in any matchup. And then I really like DK Metcalf here as well on the tournament side of things. 100 plus receiving yards in 3 straight games, getting you that 3-point DraftKings bonus. He can score multiple touchdowns in any given game as well. Price tag there at $7,000. $5,000. I think he kind of gets hidden a little bit this week, but we'll keep an eye on the ownership as the week progresses. The next guy that I wanted to highlight here is going to be Jaden Reed. Love stacking him up with Jordan Love in this matchup with the Rams. He is someone who is explosive as well, but really what I like about him is he's involved in all aspects of this offense. You're likely going to see him get some rushing attempts in that game as well. Scrolling down a little bit from that, I think Amari Cooper here against this Washington secondary is a bit sneaky. The targets are clearly going his way, 8+ targets in 4 straight games. His quarterback is just not very good, but love that matchup there. Do like him on the tournament side of things. And then Deontay Johnson. I already highlighted Chuba, and this matchup going into Chicago is not going to be an easy one, but basically all the offense right now is going through Deontay Johnson and Chuba Hubbard. You can see under Andy Dalton, 13 and 14 targets, 21 and 29 DraftKings points. Again, really hard to ignore that at that price of $6,100. Now, if we get word that Joe Flacco is going to be starting this week for the Colts, I think Pittman Jr. is a cash game consideration and really like him on the tournament side as well, so we need to keep an eye on that. It sounds like Richardson could be back, but if not, maybe we could even put in Flacco in one of our tournament lineups. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but he is very affordable at $5,500. And then I want to highlight 2 different Jags wide receivers here. Let's see if I can put them together. Thomas and Kirk. Now, I think I prefer Thomas a little bit more on the tournament side of things, but back-to-back games with 9 targets. Maybe you could consider him in cash. I think Kirk, though, is more of the cash game viable play, 10 and 12 targets in his last 2 games, but I do think both of those guys are in play here considering their price and the matchup this week. And then just like the running back position, I wasn't in love with the value here for wide receivers. I didn't really dip into the 3K range, but the 4K range doesn't look all that great in my opinion. The one guy who kind of stuck out to me was Tutu Atwell. With Nakua on the IR, Kupp still out, he's been more involved in this offense, going 4, 5, and 6 targets in his last 3 games, and he is good with the ball in his hands after the catch. Again, don't necessarily love this play, but if we're looking for some price savings at the wide receiver position, $4,900 isn't the worst. Next, we got the tight ends here, and this position just remains so gross. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some talented names on this slate, McBride, Kittle, Bowers, Kincaid, but I'm not spending up for those guys in my cash lineup. Maybe dip there a little bit in tournaments, but that hasn't been super beneficial to start the season either. I don't mind Cole Kmet here on the tournament side of things for $4,300 in a good matchup at home against Carolina, but when it comes to my cash lineup, I'm looking at the 3K range here. Now, I do think we could go with Zach Ertz. If you just want 7 or 8 points, you probably staple this guy in. I'm probably not going to go that route myself. I think Gesicki's fine. Kraft played really well with Jordan Love coming back last week. 9 targets, 18 DraftKings points. We'll see if that's a trend that continues. If so, we do love him at that price of $3,500. But outside of that, I'm kind of looking in the 2K range here for someone who might just get me 2 to 5 DraftKings points, but I'd essentially be punting the position. It's Eric All Jr. here, the tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, he has 4 targets in his last 3 games, 4 catches as well. They're low ADOT targets. He's probably not going to do a lot after the catch, but if he gives me 4 targets at $2,700, I don't mind that in my cash lineup, and if he just happens to fall in the end zone, we're laughing for sure. And then wrapping up the positional plays here with the defenses, and I got my eye on 2 defenses at the exact same price. First being the Broncos here at $2,900. Far too cheap in my opinion, playing at home here against the Raiders. This defense is legit. We saw that last week all on the road against the Jets and Rodgers. The week before that, Baker and the Bucks. Like I said, just way too cheap there at $2,900. And then I like the Patriots here on the tournament side of things, playing against Miami, whose quarterback situation is just gruesome right now. All right, everyone, now let's put together a first look cash lineup here, starting at the quarterback position. I'm just going to save some money here for starters. As much as I'd love to get up to Daniels, I'm going to go with Brock Purdy here in the safer play at $6,200. Now, at the running back position, I am going to spend up here for Kyron Williams, and then I'm going to put in Chuba Hubbard as well. So $5,000 left over per player. That allows us to spend up for at least Nico here. And then I'm going to put in one of those Jags wide receivers, save a little bit of money with Christian Kirk. Now I'm going to save some money here at the tight end position as well. We're just going to staple in Eric All Jr. And let's put in the Broncos defense as well. So now we got, all right, $5,500 left over per player. Like I said earlier, I don't love the value at the wide receiver position, but just for the hell of it, let's put in Tutu to see what that does for us. 6,200 left over at the flex position. That's Deontay Johnson again, going on the road here against Chicago. That's going to be a tough spot for sure. But all the offense for Carolina right now is going through Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Johnson. Really hard to ignore their past two performances. So as a first look cash lineup, I don't mind that. Now, folks, before we build this first look tournament lineup here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget, I am running a free Discord channel as well. If you want to join that, there's a link to do so in the description below, as well as in the pinned comment below. But let's build this first look tournament lineup here. We're definitely not going to lock in someone in the 4K range, so let's get back up to the top here, and let's build something around that game between the Bengals and the Ravens. Talked about that quite a bit here in this video. We'll go with the Cincy stack. So we'll put in Burrow, and let's go with T. Higgins. I know I didn't mention him earlier, but let's put him in at $6,000 and then save some money right away here with All Jr. Again, we're really hoping that he just falls in the end zone once, makes his money there, and we're good to go. Let's run it back here with Derrick Henry, because I know that's really expensive to do. All right. Next thing I want to do here then is put a little mini stack in this game between the Jags and the Colts. This is assuming that Joe Flacco is going to be starting at the quarterback position for the Colts. And let's put in Brian Thomas Jr. there. So we need another running back now. Let's go with Josh Jacobs. I kind of like the Green Bay Packers here, going on the road against the Rams. And then let's put in a defense at $2,900. I already put in the Broncos in my cash lineup, so let's go with the Patriots there. $5,900 left over at the flex position. Didn't really highlight too much in this area. However, DeAndre Swift was good last week for Chicago. 16 touches, 93 rushing yards, 7 targets as well. And that matchup against that Carolina defense might be one of the better ones that he sees all year. So as a flex spot, yeah, I don't mind that either. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that.